Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The show is about to begin.
That's real nice.
Hold
Glad
on.
to see her here.
Yes, and I think we have been muted so far. So
Oh,
so yeah, so much
So-
for not forgetting and not being rusty. There's a reason why I was nervous. I'm sorry about that, but all good now. So that was a dress rehearsal.
yep, exactly.
It's great to see you back, Angela. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for being here. And like everyone else, thank you for pointing out that we didn't have sound. We should be good now, though. You can just let us know in the comments. And I was saying how great it is to have you here, and please let us know where you are tuning in from, what you've been up to. If you're new, Ritchie, you pointed out that if you have a question, put a Q in front of it. All that jazz. If there are newcomers, it's great to have you. We have an interactive show. We want you to participate and let us know, any kind of questions, anything as we run through our program for today. So, Ritchie, you've been extremely busy. We will catch up in a bit more detail just now, but you've been jet-setting all over the place and film simulation walks here, there, and everywhere.
Yeah, and I, got to meet Joe in Philadelphia, so that was awesome.
Excellent.
Yeah, so it was, I met, probably 250 people or so over the course of several photo walks in August, and we'll talk more about this in a little bit, but it's been an adventure, and last month I was able to go basically coast to coast across the country and host some photo walks, co-lead them, and had a great time.
Yeah, it sounds absolutely fantastic. I'm looking forward to catching up on a bit more detail and some juicy bits about that. Thank you guys for all your comments. This is really great to have that. I was just thinking, Ritchie, I think we need to get you like a mobile broadcasting kit. So, as you keep on jet setting, we can still get you live on the show. And hopefully for the rest of the year, we won't have such a long break, since the year will be over before then.
Yeah.
But anyway, thanks for all the thumbs up. I can see them flying here in front of my screen. That's awesome. Ritchie, you moved again. You moved houses.
So this is my new office. Yeah, that's one of the things that happened, since the last show is I'm in a new place, and so this is the first show. The internet's a little sketchy, so hopefully it holds out for us for this broadcast and doesn't glitch or anything like that. So far, so good.
Yes, we had our glitch for the show, so we should be fine from now on. Yes. Yeah, who else has moved? Anybody else in a different place from where they used to be? As you can see, I'm exactly where I was 3 months ago. If you have moved, if something else has changed, if there's any exciting news in your life, do share with us. It feels like, you all have become really good friends. We've seen you show after show. So we know you all, so we want to take part in your life, in your lives too. But so before we hop into the actual program and what we've prepared for you guys, we have also prepared some polls. And I tend to forget this, and so I don't want to forget this again. So I've put it right in here in the middle of it all so that you can see. We have a poll. You can just scan this with, any other device other than the one that you're watching this from to get to the poll's question. We've got two questions. The first one is open so far. And we would just like to, catch up with you guys a little bit because it's been a while, because we've been doing what we've been doing for a while, and we just want to, get some feedback. Is this still what you guys enjoy? Is this what you want? What kind of topics do you want to discuss? What kind of recipes do you want to see? What's what? So have your say. We will then look at the results towards the end of the show. We have a second question also, so keep an eye out for that. If Rich and I will remember, we'll point out when we put on the second question. But, sometimes we get a little bit wrapped up in our conversations and it slips our minds until we get to the end results. But just know there are 2 questions we're asking you today.
The first one's live now.
Yes, the first one is live now, so you can
and
go
the
have a
second one
quiz.
will come later.
Exactly. Perfect. Okay. I think that's the housekeeping out the way. And I think I'm ready to jump into this. How about you?
Yeah, let's go.
Alrighty-o. So there's no singing today. And that's why we have a couple of unsung recipes that we want to discuss while there are airplanes flying over Ritchie's house.
Oh yeah, you can hear them. I still live near the military base, so there's some jets that fly over from time to time.
That's fine. We'll just we'll blame it on my sound effects.
It's the new jet sound effect.
Yes, exactly. Because we're jet setting all over the place.
Yeah.
Alrighty-o. Yeah, so we have 3 recipes that we want to introduce to you today. They have something in common, but we can talk about that shortly. Before we do, let's do a bit of an official catch-up on what's been, because, it's been a long time and a lot's happened. And Ritchie's written about 75,000 articles since then. And has taken probably even more photographs.
Oh, probably.
And released a similar amount of recipes. And this is one of them. But there is a lot more behind this than just another recipe. So, Ritchie, what exactly is the recipe? And what is a full spectrum camera? And how on earth did you come about that?
Yeah, so over the summer, while I was in the middle of the move, like moving boxes in and out of the truck and stuff, that kind of thing, Fujifilm very quietly released a special version of the XT4, the XT4ES, or Extended Spectrum, which is a full spectrum camera. Now, they've done this in the past with a few other models. They did it with the XT1. The difference is that those cameras were never sold to the general public. They were sold to law enforcement or universities or things like that. And some people have been able to manage to find one here and there, on secondhand. But they're very rare. They very quietly released it. I got an email. Fujifilm sent out an email, like your monthly dose of inspiration, and then at the very bottom of it, it had just like a little tiny blurb about it. I clicked the link, bought it from their website, and was very surprised. B&H, I don't know if they still have them, but they did have some for a little bit. So if you're interested in that kind of camera, I would definitely check their website. It's one that you have to call in special order from them and not buy it from the website, because there are some restrictions on who can buy it. But full spectrum, all digital sensors have the ability to see light beyond the visible spectrum, but they have a filter over top of the sensor that blocks the infrared light and the UV light. And basically, Fujifilm didn't put that filter on the camera, and so it can see light beyond what the human eyes can see. And you can get some false colors and some interesting things. Aerochrome was a very famous film that Kodak made that was an infrared film. And so I made a film simulation recipe that is not 100% accurate, but it's not terribly far off either. It's called Aerochrome V2. There's also a V1 that is for full spectrum infrared Fujifilm cameras like the X-T4ES or other ones that have been converted. There's a couple of places that will actually remove that infrared filter off of the sensor. It's a invasive and tedious process, so it's not cheap. But if you are looking for something different, I would definitely advise you to try doing a full spectrum camera.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of fun, and it's one of those projects that will really get you creatively inspired just by the looks of it. I don't know. You've prepared a couple of images for us. Can we go and have a look at those?
Yeah, let's do that. And the first time that I really got to put this recipe to the test was when I was in San Diego for the San Diego photo walk in August. And I was just blown away. I surprised myself with how much I loved these pictures, love how the colors looked at, and I had tested the recipe at home and I appreciated the results, but I really just fell in love with the colors and the look of it while in San Diego. And so that's what this photo here is. We can go to the next one if you want. I discovered that this recipe actually works really well for night photography. Now, if you know anything about infrared, it really requires the sun to be out to get those infrared wavelengths. So what happens is like vegetation, green leaves and stuff will turn red. You'll get that false color, or they could turn other colors just depending on your settings and the filters you're using and so forth. But I was just blown away by how well it works for night photography. And this is kind of where I discovered that you can use it for that. And then I put it to use a lot more extensively in Nashville at the photo walk there. So
this image reminds me of these ninja kind of whatever movies where people wear night goggles and then you see their view through the camera. And this is exactly what it looks like. And it's got this very green tinge to it.
Yeah, when you use film at night, and you get those long exposures with the fluorescent lights and stuff, they turn funny colors sometimes like this. So it very much reminded me. It was reminiscent of that.
Oh, it's very cool.
Yeah.
And you've published quite a number of posts on this. I mean, through the time I got the idea that you really enjoy it, and it's really exciting in a really nice, different way.
I wasn't necessarily looking to be re-inspired and reinvigorated in my photography, but that's what the camera has done. It's just renewed my passion for photography.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Angela is on the same bandwagon as you are?
Yeah. Yeah, so you can do like a full spectrum one where it captures all the light, or you could do an IR conversion where it does like a very specific bandwidth. And so you can do, like, for example, Angela's talking about how she has a infrared XT2, but it's not full spectrum, but it does great for black and white. So it's probably like maybe like a 720 or something. And I have been wanting to do black and white photography on their infrared camera, but I haven't even hardly gotten to that because I've just been so thrilled by the color.
And a tad busy, I guess.
Yeah, a little busy, but I mean that gave me the chance to try it out, though. I mean, that was
nice. And you've taken okay, perfect.
Yeah, so I'm going to the beach and stuff. The reason those rocks are red right there is because they were covered in like moss, and so that moss then was reflecting that infrared light. But I was just that trip to San Diego and using the camera there, it really just made me aware about how good that Aerochrome V2 recipe is on the Fujifilm X-T4ES. And then I then continued to use it in Tennessee and Philadelphia, Massachusetts, and in other places. And just like, I don't even want to, I mean, I could be satisfied with that recipe. I'll still make more and do more experiments and stuff, but I love that one so much that if that was it, I would be happy.
Nice. Very nice. So if you're out there and you're looking for some different kind of inspiration, something new, it sounds like this is really cool. I know that people do convert their cameras, and, you know, it's just it needs to be thought through, because it's like you said, Ritchie, it's very rather invasive. So once it's done, it's done.
Well, thank you, Simon.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah, so here's something completely different. Understandable why you've been busy, Ritchie, but that is not all.
No.
I've also been busy, trying to keep busy and out of mischief, and I have had a little bit of my own creation, born out of necessity rather than curiosity to begin with. When I first received my X100 VI, there were no recipes. There were no recipes for Reala Ace, and I wanted to shoot with Reala Ace, so I made my own, and it made it to the app. It made it to Fuji X Weekly app. It's featuring there, so thank you, Ritchie.
Oh yeah, it was a pleasure. It was an honor.
Feel very honored. It's a nice, easy recipe. That's why it's called Easy Reala Ace. It just has ever so slight adjustments, just to improve on the initial film simulation, the new one. It's, when it was first new, I wanted to focus on that in particular. It's really good for daylight landscapes. I love what it does to greens and blue skies. So yeah, check it out if you haven't yet. And also, I wanted to just, before I forget that, in case someone hasn't picked the news up yet, it's quite old already also. It was, I think, in June that Fujifilm released the update for the X-Trans 5 cameras to also have Reala Ace. So if you haven't heard of that yet and you're shooting on an anything X-Trans 5 sensor and haven't run an update, naughty, go and do that now, and you will be able to shoot with Reala Ace. So that's really exciting and really cool, and hopefully there will be a lot more coming with new firmware updates for other cameras. But I think Fujifilm is really quiet at the moment, so maybe that's the quiet before the storm.
Maybe.
I don't know. I don't know anything officially nor unofficially. That's okay. Simon is saying, if I thought it was yours, I just decided against it today when filling up my XT5 with recipes. It's okay.
But I got something for Simon.
Oh.
you have C1 through C7, right? Well, if you put a recipe into the IQ menu, then when C1 through C7 are not activated, then it's like having a bonus recipe. So you could put it there, right? You can put it in the IQ menu as the bonus 8th recipe.
Yes, I love how this is getting very technical. I was catching up again on, I'm getting ahead of myself because we're talking about the film simulation dial in a short while. But I was, reading through that again just to, prep, do a little bit of homework before the show. Yeah. And I had to chuckle because there are so many different ways and techniques and secret ways of how to really maximize the amount of recipes you can shoot with. It's quite something. I love it. I think it's really cool. And so this is a good option. So nice one. So Go for it, Simon. You can try that out and let us know how it goes. All right. Okay. But anyway, that was that recipe. We are catching up with Ritchie. So we've caught up with June. Now we're catching up with July. We have 3 months to cover, kind of thing. Not really in chronological order, but you got caught in the rain, I believe.
Yeah. So in August, I went on 4 co-led 4 photo walks. First was in Denver. And I had a great time. A lot of people showed up. Almost everybody who registered showed up, which is very unusual. So we had a very large crowd, and it just was really wonderful. And then after that was San Diego. I talked about that a little bit using the infrared camera. And that was very interesting because the zoo is at the same place that the photo walk was at. They shares the same park, Balboa Park. And they had just gotten some pandas, I guess for the first time in a long time. And so there was a pandemonium. Everybody came out to see the pandas and took up all the parking. So it was very difficult to find parking and stuff. But we still had a good crowd. I think the parking situation did discourage some people, maybe who tried to show up, but then couldn't find parking and so left. But we still had a very large crowd. And then that was really great. And then after that, I went to Nashville and did some night street photography. That was the photo walk, was night street photography there. With anything, there's a couple little hiccups and stuff, but Nashville is a very happening place. It was very crowded on the streets, and I guess it's very normal and typical. And I think everybody had a good time and stuff. And then the fourth one was Philadelphia, and there was a tropical storm that the remnants were passing through on that day. There was some forecasted rain. I think that maybe also discouraged some people from showing up. We still had about 50 people, give or take. But the photo walk was going really well. We were going around the historical old town, near the Liberty Bell and all, Independence Hall in that area. And then the sky opened up and it just poured. It dumped rain like nobody's business for, I don't know, 10 minutes, maybe. I don't know. It wasn't that long, but I mean, it just came down. And you can bring up the pictures if you want. We can move on to the photos. And this was after the fact. You see how wet everything is. This is with the infrared camera. You can see how the green leaves and stuff make it look like it's autumn.
And carnival or something with everyone wearing pig pants.
Yeah. So that's an interesting thing is with the infrared, for whatever reason, cloth, like clothes that are dark black, if they're black or dark blue or something like that, they turn like a red or a pink because I think they're reflecting the infrared light, but they're absorbing the visible light. So it's kind of an interesting phenomenon. But it makes it look different, Yeah. But it poured rain. I was using the XT4. Of course, that's weather sealed. But I also had the XT50, which is not. And I'm out in the rain. It's coming down. I'm getting soaked. The camera's not weather sealed, but it held up just fine. It clearly has some level of weather sealing, but probably just not enough to actually be classified as weather sealed.
But that's. Can I move to the next picture?
Yeah, you can see it here. This nice lady, she was actually on the photo walk. She came prepared with an umbrella. I did not, so.
Oh dear.
Yeah. So I mean, you could see how much it just poured down, And of course, that didn't stop me from taking pictures, or I think anybody. Yeah, Joe, we stood under a tree. Yeah, there's trees right there, but it helped for a little bit, and then it didn't help at all,
Yeah. You can see the
Joe,
messes.
Yep. but yeah, I had a great time, and the photo walks were a big success, I think, and got to meet Joe and a lot of other people. So uh, definitely looking forward to doing more of these in the future.
Yeah, I've got so much FOMO, I can't even tell you. Um, I'm, I'm really trying my best to negotiate, but
Yeah,
yeah, maybe sometime in the future.
yeah.
But
Yeah, or you gotta get Fujifilm South Africa to send me over there,
yes, yeah,
have them send you over here, Either way.
we keep on trying. We keep on trying. In case Fujifilm, you're listening.
Yep.
I wanted to ask you. You've now met so many people, people in the audience and other people, and I'm really curious to see what kind of questions people asked you, what conversations you've had, and I'm sure there is one question that was the most asked on all of those photo walks.
And we could have a whole show about this, like talking, but I would say that the question that I got asked the most was like, how did you get started in making recipes? Like, how did this whole thing come about? Like,
Okay.
so I think that's one of them. I had a lot of people like, I'm just learning about this for the first time, or just recently, and I'm not even sure how to set up a recipe in my camera. And
Okay.
so I was able to help a lot of people actually go through the steps of programming a recipe, and so that was another one. A lot of times people just want to talk about photography, talk about cameras, just what gear you're using, what recipe do you think is good for the situation we're in now, things like that. So, um,
Nice.
yeah, I mean, it was, sometimes it was just talking about like where you from, where you live, what's your story, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it was so great to meet everybody. I mean, it was just so wonderful, and I wish that I had been able to spend more time with each person, because each photo walk had a big crowd, and so obviously that meant I couldn't spend a lot of time with everybody.
Yeah. I can only imagine 250 people. Holy smokes. It's a
Yeah.
lot. But I have this one more image here that I need to bring up because I absolutely love it. It's
Mm.
so classic. I dig this. Very nice. Wherever you found these people and their dog.
Yeah. No, they were just there. They were on the route of the photo walk, and it was near the end. We were almost back at the camera store, and yeah, they were there. They let us take their picture. They were happy about it, and it was just it was kind of hard to get a good picture because everybody was trying to get a picture. So it was just like a crowd of photographers, around, almost making like a half horseshoe
Oh, wow.
around it, and everybody's taking their time, trying to get the picture, and it was great. And I probably did not get the best picture out of everybody that was there. Um,
Well, I absolutely love how this dog is
hey,
just looking in
I,
the
I don't mean
camera.
to interrupt you, but just 1 second. I'll be right back. You can keep talking though.
Okay, sure, no problem. I'll do that. I'll just keep on talking. I thought I heard the doorbell ring, to be very honest, in the background. So let's hope it's an urgent delivery. Who knows? Maybe Ritchie is getting a new camera from Fujifilm. We will ask him to
I'm
disclose
back.
what happened.
Well, it wasn't anything from Fujifilm, but it was some gear that I was not expecting to arrive today. It was supposed to come tomorrow, but it came a day early.
Well,
Um,
isn't that nice? I love it when that happens. Unless it's during a
yeah,
live show,
so
but that's okay.
yeah, so yeah, I wasn't supposed to come today. I apologize to everybody that I had to step out for a second. Um,
It's
it's some stuff from MPB. They've been
oh.
sponsoring a little bit of content on the Fuji X Weekly site, and so they've been letting me borrow some gear, write up about it, and then send it. I have to send it back. So you get it borrowed for a couple weeks, and So yeah, it was for the next article. So
Okay, well, one plug for them right
yeah,
here, right now. That's cool.
yeah.
And Dan has also joined us. Hello, Dan. It's nice to see you here. No problem. You're late. Everything is,
Better,
we're
better late
only
than
just
never.
getting started.
Yeah.
All right. Excellent. So let's move on from here. Some other really cool story was this one. What's that all about?
Yeah, so while we were gone on this trip, my family came along, was able to join us, as this coast to coast adventure. And my son turned 15 while we were out, and we were actually in New Jersey at the time. And so we stopped by Carlos Bakery, home of Buddy, better known as the Cake Boss. You guys probably seen him on TV and stuff. So we went to that bakery, and he got to pick out a cake, um, and it was the best birthday cake probably any of us have ever had. So we were able to celebrate his 15th birthday with a Carlos Bakery birthday cake.
Nice. Very nice indeed. I'm sure it was delicious.
Oh, it really was. It really was.
Nice. That's awesome. Well, we are all humans, so a little bit of cake goes a long way. Great stuff. So if you missed the photo walk so far, you don't need to worry. There are more dates and probably more dates after this, but these dates have been confirmed as far as I understand, and they are happening soon, hopefully somewhere near you.
Yeah, so I'll be at Create With Us in Austin in like, what's that, like 9 days? So about less than a week and a half. If you're in Texas, I hope to see you there. You do have to register. I do have information about that on my website, or Fujifilm has it on their website. And then in October on the 9th and 10th, I will be at the NAB show in New York. And if you live in the New York area, even if you're like a little ways out, even if you're like Philadelphia or something, make sure that you get there. Again, you have to register. If you register through Fujifilm's link, they have like a code that you'll be able to get in for free. So, because normally there's a fee to go to that show, but they have something worked out where if you register, then you can get in for free. The photo walks are free. Make sure that you sign up, though. You have to be registered.
Awesome. Excellent. And we have shared some links, and there's other links in the comments as well. So if you want to catch up with all of this, you can do that there. But everything is also on Ritchie's website. Simon, a very good question. What about Germany? What about South Africa?
Yeah, I would love to.
The UK.
I hope that's in the future someday.
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, that would be absolutely amazing. Yeah. All right. There's lots to come, exciting times. And while all of that is happening, there is even more happening. And that is not a camera, not a X-series camera, but an Instax camera that was released in amongst all of this as well. In case there's anyone who likes those analog Instax looks, it's the successor to the Y300 that has been around for the longest time and was like this really big, unwieldy kind of camera, which took really nice photographs. But it has received an upgrade with my favorite color of all colors, which is this sage green or whatever. It looks really cool. So you don't need to be embarrassed anymore when you pull that. It's still really big. So when you pull that out your bag, everyone's like, whoa. But at least it's got a really nice color. And I played around with it. It's really nice. It's, following the line of the recent Instax cameras. I'm going to, have an article about that in the near future. So you can keep an eye on that. But yeah, it's really nice and fun for something a little bit less serious.
Yeah. Or if you want to be a little more serious about Instax, you could ask Dan Allen about his project. That is super cool.
It is very cool, definitely. Go check out one of the most recent articles on Ritchie's blog about that. It's very cool. Talking about creativity and inspiration.
Yep.
Yeah. But while we're here, and while I remember, we can switch the poll question. I remembered, Ritchie. I'm going to give myself applause. Sorry, guys, but we always say in the couple of minutes before we go live, we need to remember this, and whatever. And there's, only so many places where you can make notes and stuff. And then most of the time we forget to remind you guys that there is another poll open and that you can vote so that at the end of the show we can look at the results. And this is exactly what's happening now. We have a second question because we want to hear more from you guys what it is that you want to see apart from the recipes that we choose. So the floor is open for you. Go for it. Let us know and we will check it out a little bit later. But now back to our recipes for this month. Because film simulations are it's the order of the day and it's the term of terms to use recently. So we thought we are looking at some recipes that are named after film simulations. And we found a couple that are, really nice recipes, obviously, but we call them unsung. They're, flying under the radar or have been. There's some newer ones and older ones. Nice little mix of different recipes that we're going to look at that give you different results. And depending on what you're in the mood for, there's hopefully something for everyone. And we are starting out with, this is the newest one of the lot, the Astia Summer, which is, one of Ritchie's latest hobby horses, talking about film simulations and stuff. So do you want to elaborate a little bit about that?
Sure. Yeah, so this is one of the XT50 film dial recipes. So for those that don't know, I came up with a strategy for using the film dial and the XT50, but within that there are 14 recipes that basically are all identical except for they use a different film simulation. So this is using Astia with that recipe, with that strategy. Just because you don't have an XT50 doesn't mean you can't use this recipe. You definitely can. So it's vibrant and warm. It's more similar to Kodak Ektar 100 than Fujichrome Astia 100F. A lot more similar, actually. But it's not a perfect match for Ektar or for the Astia slide film. It's not intended necessarily to mimic a specific film, but it's really great for colorful landscapes. If you have a vibrant scene, this will help be vibrant without being overly vibrant like sometimes Velvia is. So
yes. Let's have a look at how this renders the colors, because it's definitely vibrant. You can tell straight away.
Yeah. So it's definitely got a lot of colors and it's bright, but not necessarily to the extent, like I said, it's not the extent of Velvia, which can be too much sometimes. So this kind of keeps that in check.
Yes. Yeah, what I really like about it is that it really pushes the blue into the sky. So that's really nice without making it this dark, rich blue that sometimes feels a little bit overdone with other film simulations. So I really, really like that. And yeah, even though it's, it's called SCS summer, it's still very much, well, up until a couple of weeks ago, very much winter here. So that's why you see this burnt field. But
even if it's not summer, you can make it feel like summer.
Exactly. Yes, you can.
So yeah, colors like green, red will pop. The blue becomes a very nice rendering.
Yeah. And sorry, I'm repeating myself. I shot this image actually in a different recipe, and then I converted it in camera, and I saw how it's pulled up the sky in the background. So that was kind of like, oh, interesting, because in the original picture it's a bit more drabby colors, and I was able to recover quite a bit of sky with this recipe.
And what's also nice is the shadows, are light. They're not, too harsh, but yet you could still, they're not muddy or you could still see the deepness of the blacks, when there are blacks, but yet the shadows are light and you have plenty of detail in them.
Yeah. So it's definitely a lovely, mellow, happy recipe.
Summery.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and brings out all the nice colors, and I've used it for a sunset where it also works really nicely. So a good recipe to use for a whole lot of different situations. It's definitely good during daylight, but I think we said that it's also can be used during the day or at night. Either way, it's
it's very versatile, so you can use it anytime. I mean, just literally any light situation. And it's gonna it's probably a little too vibrant for portraiture, but aside from that, you can pretty much use it for about anything.
Yeah, definitely. So give that one a try if that is something, and if you want to bring some summer feeling into your life. And this is for Extron's 5 sensors in particular, right?
Yeah,
and
so
even
Extron
if
5, and also the newer Extrans 4 that have like the 0.5 highlight and shadow adjustment. So like the XT4, XS10, XE4, and XT32 can also use this recipe.
Yeah. So quite a big variety of cameras. Right. But if that is not your jam, or in addition to that, whichever way, hopefully, as a second one that you would like to try, let's say it like that, we have expired Velvia chosen as our second recipe. So it's not using Velvia at all, which is nice, but classic negative. And you can see, as soon as you look at the images, you can definitely tell there is this classic negative quality to it, which I really like, and I think it's popular in general.
Yeah, classic negative is one of the more popular film simulations, and the story behind this is kind of interesting. There is a Fuji X Weekly reader who had shot some really old Velvia 50 that was long expired, well past the expiration date. And he didn't, with expired film, you're supposed to increase the exposure by a certain amount based on how old it is, how long it's expired. He didn't do that, got it developed. When it came back from the lab, it looked a lot like classic negative, so that was the surprising thing about it, is how the colors had shifted and everything. It didn't look so much like Velvia anymore. What's great about this recipe is it has like an analog look to it, analog feel. It's kind of Lomo for those who are into kind of like using expired film or doing alternative processes and stuff, it falls into that category. It's not going to give you a true to life rendering. The colors are going to be shifted. It's going to look a little different. And definitely use it in sunny daylight. If you use it outside of that, you can still get good results sometimes, but definitely best for sunny daylight.
Yes. Yeah, let's have a look at some sample images. I can vouch for that. I've added an image that I think was taken in overcast weather. But let's first look what it looks like when it's done right.
Yeah.
As intended in the sun.
Yeah, so it has like a little hue shift to it, and it definitely is a different kind of rendering that you would expect from like a Velvia film, but it's still very nice.
Yes, it definitely. I do like it a lot. Like I said, classic negative is definitely something I really enjoy, and there's something to be said how the recipe reacts in different conditions. So that's really nice. Sorry, Jonathan is just saying analog annex Astia is nice. Great. Thank you guys for all the comments. If we don't mention anything about your comment while it's on the screen, it's not that we are ignoring you. We just kind of like want to acknowledge your comments and also move on a little bit at the same time. So it's highly appreciated. And thank you for all of that. Keep it up, guys. Let's have another look at some more sample images.
Yeah, so, you talk about like, red roses and how they might look if you did photograph it with Velvia, or even just a regular classic negative recipe like Superior 100 or something like that. It's going to look a lot different than with this. And I think you could convince people that this was actually shot on, expired film or was photographed a while ago or something like that. It just has that analog vibe to it that, a lot of people are searching for. So
yeah.
Definitely if you want to have that kind of, film-like feel to your pictures, this is a good recipe for it.
Yeah, this image in particular, you could totally see how this is a print. It's like lying around somewhere. So I tried also some different scenes. So because we're coming out of winter and our grass always turns very yellow in winter, I think it has a huge effect on how the whole recipe feels in general. Because I was looking at your images and I'm going to hop straight into the next one because you can really tell what I'm trying to highlight is that this image has much less of a tinge than my one. Taken, even though it's also taken in sunlight, but just the whole environment is very different. So I thought that was really interesting how my colors were a lot more shifted than yours.
Where like this one was photographed, it was just a lot of green, just green everywhere. And so I think probably just how the light reflects off of that affects the whole photo.
Yeah, it's really interesting. To be very honest, I've never noticed it as drastic as with this recipe and these couple of images where, and because the seasons are so different at the moment, it was really interesting. So it's not only your daylight, because it's bright sunshine on your side and it is on mine as well. And it's even more noticeable, and this is why I added this picture. And in this, it's like so magenta, it's crazy. It's definitely very cross-processed almost. And something is definitely shifted in the color tones a lot because the wall is really white. And there's nothing wrong with it. I think it's cool. It's very different, but yeah, definitely not true to life.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what we're talking about, getting that Lomo kind of like alternate process kind of look. So
Yeah.
it does have like this particular image does have a cross process kind of look. And I what I find interesting is that the wall that's inside actually is pretty white. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't have nearly a pronounced tint like the outside walls do. So that's pretty fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah. I also thought so. So yeah, try it out, play around with it, and see if you like it, and let us know. All right, and then we have number 3. No, sorry, I'm rushing ahead of myself. Just as a
all right.
bit of a summary, to just round it off again. So it's definitely expired look, and sunny days are your friend. And
Yep.
it's definitely not for every day, and expect some interesting results depending on where you're shooting.
And you can use it with X-Trans 4 and X-Trans 5. With X-Trans 4, the exception is that you can't use it on the XT3 or XT30. But other than that, any camera after that, it's good for.
Yes. And then we have one more recipe that's even more versatile as far as different cameras are concerned. And it's a black and white recipe. We thought we'll just chuck that in the mix for a change, and don't always go with 3 color or 3 black and white ones. So there's hopefully something for everyone. And this one, although it's called monochrome, it's actually based on acros.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it's quite a mellow recipe, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, it's got some similarities to Agfa Scala, but it's got a little bit more highlight protection, just a little bit, and not quite as contrasty. So I guess in that respect, it's more like a negative film than a positive film. But yeah, it's just lovely grain, good tonality. It does clip highlights because it has +3 highlights. So you want to kind of bring back the exposure to protect the highlights from blowing out.
Yeah. It's definitely nice to, try it out, to, give you some time with black and white again. If you don't shoot it all that often, it's a really nice, not too dramatic look, and gives you the beautiful results. And I guess because it's based on acros, it's also, affects the grain more so than maybe if it used monochrome.
Yes. So not only does acros have the built-in grain, but the grain changes depending on the ISO and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. All that jazz.
All that jazz.
Yeah, it does. And I thought you haven't seen my dog in a while, so I thought I'll throw in one
always good to do
for
that.
the dog lovers. Yeah. And it's good that this is in black and white then, because as you can see, he was hopping around in the mud there, and he looked very interesting when he was finished. Anyway, so we put all the links to all the recipes in the comments. You can pick them up there, or obviously go to Ritchie's website and check that out. And you were talking about clipping highlights. So I think it's...
yeah, you definitely have to pull the
careful
exposure back a little bit. You might have to go like, negative 2/3 stops, -1, or somewhere in there, just to make sure that the whites aren't just pure white. And also that also has the effect of deepening the shadows. What I feel about this recipe is the shadows very rarely go too deep. There's always a little detail in them, and so it's got a really good tonality.
Yeah. Yes. I was surprised here, actually, how well it handled the big difference between highlights and shadows. So, yeah, and it was really nice to play around with black and white again for a change.
Yeah, I love black and white. I would, if I could, I would just, that's what I would shoot for the most part. It's just black and white.
Yeah.
It reminds me of when I, learned photography, being in the lab, printing your own black and white prints and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yes, it's got that special thing. We have dedicated, was it 1 or 2 episodes? I don't remember, but at least 1 episode in the past talking about only black and white. So if you like black and white and you haven't seen that show, go back and check that out. We do love it. And if you like black and white and you want us to talk more about black and white, why don't you suggest a recipe, if you have one in mind, in our poll that is open still, so you can have your say and let us know. We always love to hear feedback because, we love chatting to each other, but it's really, wanting to also involve you guys and give you guys an opportunity to have some inspiration to pick up a camera and choose a different recipe if you're a little bit overwhelmed by these hundreds and hundreds of recipes floating about. Okay.
Yeah, we're here to help you. That's the point of our show. Is it's not just we enjoy chatting and stuff, but we're here to help you. So
yes,
definitely make sure you have your say.
Yes, and we want to make sure that you don't end up like this dude in the picture.
Yeah, no.
So, that is monochrome negative. So just to, wrap it up and to summarize, if we haven't made it, if we haven't emphasized that enough already, underexposing is quite important, so you really need to look out for your highlights. And also, the recipe doesn't use clarity. So everyone who doesn't like that lag that happens when you use clarity, this is your recipe for you. You can just, shoot and shoot and shoot without interruption.
Yeah, and you can use this one on X-Trans 3, X-Trans 4, X-Trans 5. Because clarity is set to 0, the color chrome effects are off, and then the grain size is small. For the cameras that don't have those things, then you just disregard that, and it's exactly the same.
Yeah. Exactly. Okie dokes. Cool stuff. So just as a summary to all the recipes that we have looked at, we started out with Astia Summer, nice and bright and happy and vibrant for really nice, contrasty, colorful images. And Versatile, it's for the latest X-Trans 5 sensors. And don't do any portrait photography with it. And your vibrant Valvia recipe is, Ritchie said for well-expired, it looks like well-expired film. When we were looking through the last draft of the presentation, we were like, well expired, is this really what it's supposed to say? But
yeah, not just like barely expired, but like, it's been years.
Yes. So there's the hand up for some Astia. Well, I'm glad that you are excited about that. Hopefully you're also excited about shooting with pretend Valvia. Well, classic neg, really. So 2 really fun recipe, and then to round it off, something in black and white for, when you're in the mood for that. We always try and give you a little bit of a mix, then depending on, no matter what camera you shoot with, you at least have one recipe to choose from. And in case you're new and not really sure what this is all about, since we we're a bit rusty, and when we come on, we don't have sound, so you may have missed some of those pointers. But at the end of the day, what we try to do is that we suggest a couple of recipes for you to shoot with for a while, and then, you upload those, and then we make a viewer slideshow from it and showcase that, in the weeks coming up. So that is kind of like the point. It gives you something to work towards, a little bit of a date that you can go out and shoot with these recipes. Because we all know, right? If we don't have a deadline, I mean, I can only speak for myself, but I think I'm not alone in this. When we don't have a deadline, we don't necessarily end up doing these kinds of things. So if you want to get creative, here's a little bit of something for you to do. And then please share those images with us. You can scan this QR code or do a screenshot. Go to the sooc.live website, anywhere where you can, get that link, and then upload your images. All of this will be updated from tonight and tomorrow morning, and then you can go ahead and enjoy those recipes.
And it's one of my favorite parts, is seeing the pictures that you create with these recipes. So definitely share them.
Yes. That's the name of the game, sharing. And we can't wait. We haven't done this in a while, so I'm really looking forward to getting back into the swing of things. Fantastic. And now that we've really been asking, and we've remembered and had some time, hopefully, for you guys to answer our polls. So we can now have a bit of a look. Let's go and have a look at the first poll question that we asked, and let's see how you feel. Because we have wanted to know what kind of film simulation recipes you like us to discuss. So this episode saw recipes that were named after film simulation, just because that is the name of the times at the moment. Everyone is talking about film simulations. And so let's have a look, see. I think this needs to just refresh, because I'm hoping that not only one person voted. Otherwise, we're just going to go with recommending film simulation recipes that look like film stock. Let me see if I maybe need to do something here. Let me just see. There we go.
Oh, there we go. There
we go. See.
That's better.
Thank you guys for voting. This is looks so much better. All right. So who's the winner here? We have quite a good amount of people who want to keep up with the latest on Fuji X Weekly releases. So Ritchie, you can't retire just yet.
No, there's no plan for that. But
and people want to see black and white recipes as well, which is great. But I think it is pretty obvious that analog is still what people are after. Not surprising to me when I also see what's being discussed in the forums and stuff. So we are right on point. So thank you for this update. I think it really does help us with checking out, what to choose, what kind of recipes to discuss in the future. And then we had another question. We hope you had enough time and opportunity to let us know if there are any particular recipes that you are keen on discussing. Okay. And we have Acros, which is great.
Yeah. And this poll is, I was going to say, this poll is still open. So if you didn't vote, definitely scan the QR code and put, type something in now. And even if we don't talk about it in the show, or if we move on, we'll still see the poll and we'll get your answer. So
yes.
So take a moment and do that for us. It would be greatly appreciated.
Yep. And the poll will stay open still for a couple of days. So you can have your say and let us know. And there is someone who says anything that changes its looks depending on exposure, especially when that look cool when overexposed.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, there's definitely some recipes that do that, and even the classic negative film simulation in general is unique in how it responds based on exposure. So that's a good suggestion.
Okay. Awesome. I don't know if there's other ones. I was kind of like expecting a list of recipes, but maybe they need to cycle through. I am not 100% sure. But let's see. Okay. Yeah, I think that's what it is. I'd love a dedicated trip along cinematic black and white recipes. Okay. That sounds fantastic. Yeah. And Angela wants to look at Eterna recipes. Also really interesting. We haven't done that a lot either.
No, those are pretty underrated. I think there's some really good ones, and just they fly under the radar, a lot of times.
Yes. How suitable for this episode.
Yeah. Especially with the jet noise. I said they fly under the radar.
Oh, yes. Okay, and then we have a Leica-like black and white. Okay. Looks like you've got your work cut out for yourself. I'm not sure if there is a recipe like that in your selection of...
I mean, the Leica, I did get to play around with a Q2 briefly, and it had two different black and white options that were actually pretty similar. Depending on the situation, you may have a hard time telling them apart, but one was a little more contrasty than the other. I mean, it reminded me more of like the monochrome film simulation from Fujifilm, not so much the acros, but the monochrome. So maybe something based on monochrome.
Yeah. We will definitely keep a record of all your suggestions, and we will use them when we choose some more recipes in the near future.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you, guys. This is great. And now, if there are any more questions in the audience, you are more than welcome to fire away and let us know if it's a question you would like to have answered, or just a comment. Pop in, Joss. It's really great to see you here as well. Nice. We hope that we elaborated enough on the recipes. We really want you guys to try them out. It's been a bit, dry over the last couple of months, but now that we're back in the swing of things, it's really cool, to get back. And unfortunately, we can't use your infrared recipes.
No, not for the show. There's just so few people that have those cameras.
Yeah.
I think it would be great if Fujifilm did release like a full spectrum. I think it would be a great way if they did ever overproduce a certain model. I don't think they have that problem right now, but in the future, if they ever made too many of something, just to remove the IR filter and have it be full spectrum and sell it to the general public, I think that would be a great way for them to free themselves of those models, but also to allow more people to do that kind of photography.
Yes. Yeah, one day in the future, which is probably, in the distant future rather than soon. Nothing overproduced on Fujifilm cameras these days. Anyway, but that's great. So just a little bit on the side note to the team in the background. My preview for my comments has died. The battery chewed itself through the backup power. So if there are any more queued comments, I'll just have to see them as they come up on the screen. So I'm leaving them open so that you have a platform to, fire away on your comments or questions. But my device decided that, we were supposed to be finished 10 minutes ago already, so it was a good time. But Joe has a question. He's saying, why not shoot in RAW with clarity set to 0 so that you don't experience shutter delay? Then use Extra Studio to add back the clarity that the recipe requires.
And that was Fujifilm's suggestion when they first introduced clarity on the X Pro 3. That was their solution to the delay, was that very suggestion. I don't use XRAW Studio personally. I actually like the delay. I know I'm a rare person in that. It reminds me of the film days when you had to advance to the next frame on a film camera, and that's about the same amount of time. And I use it to slow myself down and to kind of force myself to look for that decisive moment and not just spray and pray or that kind of thing, but to actually try and time, kind of knowing I have one shot at it, let's get it right, kind of that kind of discipline. But I know that that's the exception. For most people that's not a very good answer, I guess, and so that's why your suggestion, Joe, and which was also Fujifilm's suggestion, is a good one. If you don't want the delay, set clarity to 0, and then you can always add it in later, either reprocessing it in camera or with XRAW Studio.
Yeah. Although, Richie, you've really formulated it so beautifully, because I couldn't agree with you more that oftentimes we should slow down and really focus on that one decisive moment rather than taking so many pictures of the same thing per se. Because at the end of the day, we just choose one of those images anyway. It is a good teacher, and I can only recommend that you try it out and not get frustrated with it. But yeah, there are different ways around it, and this is definitely a good one.
And it does take practice. It's those few times in the early part of it where you do miss that decisive moment by a hair that really helps you to discipline yourself to then better anticipate it in the future.
Yeah. And Joe is just asking a second follow-on question on that. And that's again a good question. Joe's on fire today. Because if you do this last step, or rather, if you do the processing then in XRAW Studio rather than in camera, does that result in a different result, in a different look than it would have if you had done this in camera? Because in principle, XRAW Studio works with your processor in your camera, so it will do exactly the same thing as if you were actually taking the picture at the time.
Zero image quality difference. Yeah. And so that would be the thing, is just that it does increase your workflow time. That would be the downside.
Yes, and that's the one thing that we want to assist you with in getting rid of, is this editing and spending extra time afterwards, if that is what you are seeking.
A lot of people are surprised that I don't involve a computer in my workflow at all. Like it's not even a part of it. I use the app. A lot of people also surprised I use the old camera remote app and not the new X app. Just because I was able to get it to work for me, and it works on all my older cameras that the X app doesn't work with. So I use the X app, the camera remote app, to transfer the photos from the camera to my phone, crop and straighten if they need that, and then I upload them to cloud storage and I'm done. So I think that's a great workflow that works for me. That may not be what works for you, but it's about finding what does work for you and not doing what everybody else thinks that you should do, or anything what somebody else is telling you is the right way or anything like that.
Yes, in photography, there's very few things that are only one way of doing it.
Exactly.
Yeah, but it's definitely, I find it very, very inspiring, and it's definitely recommended that you give it a try and see how it feels. I find it very liberating at times. Yeah.
And Dan's got a good suggestion here, which is when you do need to be, or when you don't need to be quick, you can have clarity set to whatever the recipe calls for. Work with the delay, use it to slow yourself down. But in those instances where you do want to be quick, you put it to contiguous low, it disables clarity, sets it to 0, and then you don't have that delay. You could be quick, and then just later on with those few images, if you want to add clarity back in, you can.
Yep. Yep, very good. And we have another comment from Saram. He or she, sorry, I'm not sure, says, what would you recommend for a natural looking desaturated film recipe with cream brownish tones, something that desaturates green especially?
I like, it's, let me see if I get the name of it right. Fuji Color NPS 160 pulled, I think is the name of it. Let me make sure I got that right. I pull up the Fuji X Weekly app on my phone here.
It's really,
Reset the filter
it's really
parameters.
nice for those kinds of moments. It's really nice to have the app where you can then search and filter through recipes. That's often helped me a lot when you just have
Yeah.
one parameter that you're looking for, or two or something.
Yeah, Fuji Color NPS 160 pulled is the name of the recipe. Give that one a try and see what you think.
Excellent. That's recipe number 4.
Yeah.
Great. Excellent. If there are no more questions, then I think it's been really good to speak with you guys. There is one more question from Joss. Do you think it's possible to reproduce Joker colors with a recipe? It'll be fantastic. Joker colors.
So I think what's a lot of times when people ask about certain films and movies, there are some more cinematic looking recipes, especially some of them that use Eterna. But the thing to understand about like a movie is that there's a whole team of people who do the lighting. The lighting is always very carefully controlled and thought, and that has so much to do with the look. And you have people who are experts at lighting working with the cinematographer who also understands lighting probably more than most photographers, also working with the director who also understands lighting to a deep level. And they're very carefully crafting it, and that's how they get these different looks. I guess it's not so much the recipe itself, but the lighting that has the biggest factor, I guess, in the outcome. So I guess I would look at the movie and see how they did the lighting, pay close attention to the colors of the lighting, maybe even do some research. There might be an article about that talks about how they lit the movie, and then you can then try and replicate those lights at home with some lighting kits and stuff, and that's probably the best approach.
Yeah, it gets quite involved when you're trying to replicate movie colors and looks, but it's a good exercise.
Yeah.
Well,
especially if you don't really understand light to that extent, which most of us don't. I don't. I try. It's always learning. It's a lifelong process of learning. But I think when you start paying attention to those things, and then you really get a better appreciation for it.
Yeah. Yes. And Enrico's back with us too. Better late than never. Yes, absolutely.
Exactly.
But if anyone is late or missed the show completely, you can rewatch it. We keep it on the channel, so you are invited to tune in regardless of what time it is. And if you have been watching the replay and not the live, you are still more than welcome to ask your questions and, get answers for anything that you would like to know. We do monitor those questions and comments and answer as soon as we always can. And yeah. Ta-da!
Well, I think that's about it.
I think so. And Ritchie has places to go, people to speak to, and in his busy life that he leads these days. So it's been really cool chatting with you guys. And please do remember, if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, give us a thumbs up, show us some love, and keep the comments going in this or in previous episodes, and keep engaging. And we have also posted the link to the sooc.live website. So if there's anything else you need to know, any current links, recipes, and all that kind of information, just go there. It will be updated always the day after the show, and then you can, catch up with everything that you need to know. And don't forget, it's all about sharing. So once you've taken images with the recipes, do share them with us. You can use the link, you can, scan the QR code, or like I said, find it on the website. The new deadline is the 21st of October. Can you believe it? End of the year galloping towards us.
Fast, yeah.
Yeah. It is the Monday before the next show. Yes. The next show will be on the Thursday, the 24th of October. Mm-hmm. And we are looking forward to that. And you have, I think it's almost 6 weeks, five or 6 weeks to take lots of photographs. We hope that you enjoy it, and we look forward to your creations.
Yeah, it's probably one of my favorite parts, is just being able to see all you guys' pictures. So don't hesitate to share some of your favorites with us.
Yes, please keep them coming. And I thought when you said, your favorite part, I thought you meant, the goodbye part.
No, it's a funny joke though. Sometimes, when my kids were little, they liked to watch Dora the Explorer. I don't know, that cartoon that used to be on. And at the end of the show, it would say, she would ask the audience, she would say, well, what was your favorite part of the show? And I would always quick to answer the ending credits. And then she would respond, that's my favorite part too. And, the kids would get a good laugh out of it and stuff. But,
Yes. Golly. I have to find that cartoon.
Yeah.
Don't know that one. But yeah. Not that the rolling credits are our favorite part, but yeah.
No.
It's been really good to be back. Sorry for the sound issues in the beginning. We got a bit rusty, but dusted ourselves off and back in the swing of things. We hope you're too, and we look forward to the next one.
Yep. And
thank you, Ritchie.
Joe, I see he's got a comment here, and I just nothing that I can announce yet, nothing official, but there's more photo walks of the works, and I might be able to see Joe again in the near future. So keep that in mind.
Yes, that would be absolutely fantastic. And I hope, hope and pray that I will make a plan one day to join one of them, wherever it may be. And as you've heard and seen, we're all very keen to walk alongside you in other parts of the world. And up until then, we'll just, take our cameras and our recipes, and we'll take some pictures wherever we are.
Mm-hmm.
And for now, I would like to thank you, Ritchie. You have, like I said, you have places to go.
Yeah, I do. I gotta jump off of here, but it's been great. It's been great to talk to you, Natalie, and talk to you guys out there watching. And you guys make this show great with all your interactions and questions and comments and everything. And it's so great to interact with you. And I can't wait to do it again in about 5 weeks or so.
Yes, I'm looking forward to that. And thanks, Ritchie, and thanks to everyone from me as well. You have yourselves a super day, evening, wherever you are in the world, and keep creating awesome JPEGs. We'll see you very soon. Goodbye for now.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night, and thank you for watching. We hope you enjoy the show.